Recording has started. So in our last class, we created this app. And in this app, you can add first name. You type the first name. You type the last name. Then you click
Sorry,
on...
are you sharing your screen?
Oh, sorry. Let me share the screen. Sorry. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So in our last class, we created this app. We have a place for first name, a place for last name. You can type it. Then you click on this button. After clicking on this button, the student will be added into this array of students, because you are going to call on this function add students. Then we spread everything and we add the new student. New student is actually an object. This is an object. You are adding the object to this array. You are spreading the initial students and you're adding a new student into this array. Then you are setting the first name and the last name back to empty string, so that this two now will be empty again. So here we are displaying the students. We are displaying all the students using this map. Then when you click on this button, you are deleting that student. When you click on this, you are getting the I, which is this. You are getting this I, which is this. Then you are passing it to this. Then you are using it to filter this, and you are setting students. Any question?
No, it's fine. This one.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, can you please say a little bit on that light system, please?
Sir?
The light system, please.
Line 6.
The
Line
16,
6.
16, 16.
16. Okay, line 16. Yes, this is line
16,
16.
6,
Yes.
right 16. Sir, can you please explain a little bit on it, sir?
Okay, what is going on there? On line
Yes, sir.
16, when the user clicks on this button, you know this is displaying all the students. This map is displaying all the students. And this student represents each object in this array of objects. All students is an array of objects. This student represents each object inside this array of objects. And this I represents the index of that object. Do you get it, sir? Please, are you following me? Please, are you following me?
Hello, sir.
I'm
Can you hear me,
I'm
sir?
with you.
Yes, I'm with you, sir.
Okay. So this student represents each object. Why this represents the index? So we are passing the index as a parameter to this del student, so that when the user clicks on this button, the index will be passed as a parameter to this del student. So we are receiving it inside this function. This is a parameterized function. Then this particular line, what it's going to do is this. We know that all students is an array. We know that. Now when you say dot filter, I told us that filter returns an array. What filter does is this. When you filter something, let's use something like this. Let's go to the bottom of the page and quickly write something here. Let's say I have an array like this. Let's go. Let me put it here, so let's ARR looks like this. So this is an array. When you say this array dot filter, this filter, its first value is each value in this array. Its second one, since you are using 2, you need to put another bracket. Its second one represents the index of each value. Then you now put a condition here. You can say if the index now, let's start with this, if it's greater than 3. If I save this as a variable, and I say console log my var, what will I say? This, what will I say with this?
You will see.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
You see 7, 8, 9, 15, and 15.
Really? Please look at it again.
Never. Array filter.
Please look at it again.
Oh, look, my var.
Okay, because of our time, we only see 2 and 15. The condition says the index must be greater than 3. We are not dealing with the value now. We are dealing with the index. This is I.
Okay, yeah.
The condition says the index must be greater than 3. This is index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3. So this will only give me 2 and 15 as the result. Do we get it to that point?
Yes, yes.
Now, imagine we now have a function like this. Const and the function is a parameterized function, and cut this now. So let's assume that the value of ind is 1. What do you think I'll see? Let's assume, but why calling on this function? The value of ind is 1. What do you think I will see?
The value of
d is 1. What do you think I'll see?
Sorry, let's see your screen again.
Yes, sir. This is it. You can see it.
Equal to, is that equal to or greater than? You've removed the greater, you've changed
This is double equal to.
Okay. You see 8.
I'll say 8. Good. So the result we are going to have will look like this. It's like this. Because the condition says if I is double equal to I and D. Good. So I now want to ask us, let's assume it's like this. What do you think I will see? If the value of ind is 1, if the value of ind is 1, and I run this, what do you think I will see?
Is the value, sorry.
If the value of ind is 1, what do you think I will see?
You still see the same 8.
No.
Sorry, let me see when. If the value of index is 1, that is
Ye-
what you're saying now.
yes, the value of IND is 1. This is exclamation mark and double equal to. Yeah.
Oh,
The value of IND is 1. What do you think I'll say?
you're not bring anything. If you take from 8 to 15.
It's going to.
8 to 15.
No. Mr. Cousin, are we still together? He asked the question. I don't know if he's still active there. Let's move on. Now, it's not going to give us 8 to 15. What it's going to do is this. The result will look like this. The first I will first be 0, right? For 7, I will be 0. Is 0 equals to 1? No. That condition is 2. So we have 7. Then for 8, I is 1. Is 1 equals to 1? Like, this condition is false because the condition says I must not be equal to IND. So this will fail that test. Then for this
Oh,
2, this will pass. Other things will pass.
sorry, explain again why 8 is not there.
Okay, let's take it again. Let's assume the value of IND is 1. For
Yes.
7, I is 0, right?
Yes.
Is 0 not equal to 1? Is this condition so? 0
Okay,
not
okay. I
equal
understand.
to 1. 0.
Okay, I understand.
Okay. So this is 2 for 0. So it will pass 7 here. Therefore 8 is going to become 1 not equal to 1. This will fail.
Yes, yes.
So it's not going to push that. Then for 9, this becomes 2 not equal to 1. This will pass.
Yeah.
So every other thing will pass except this 8. Do you understand it now?
Yes. Yes.
So what you are just doing here is this. We are doing the same thing up here. The same thing up. Let's go. When you click on it, you are passing the index as the value of this index. You are now saying that I must not be equal to that one. So at the end of the day, it's going to return everything except that one that owns that index. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, new students will be all the students here except the one that owns that index that we clicked on. That is all we just did there. Let me delete this function now. Please, can we proceed?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So for tonight, we are going to move to splitting components. We want to split our components, and it's a very good thing. You can't keep writing everything on the same page. It becomes difficult to debug and maintain. So to split your component, this is what you want to do. Components are actually reusable codes. Like you want to reuse, it makes it easier for you to reuse the same codes again and again. Maybe you want to use it elsewhere, it becomes easier. So in fact, it's a good practice. Split your components. A component should just do maybe a single thing. You shouldn't don't just put everything on the same page and all of that. It becomes rough. And imagine you are trying to debug now, then you have to go to too many things. So what you're going to do now is this. We are going to take this one that we are using to add students. Everything concerned with adding students will be taken to a separate component. Then everything concerned with displaying students will be taken to another component. This is concerned with displaying students. It will be taken to another component. In fact, we can take this no students yet to another component, and this, depending on how you want to do it, and this top will be like this school application. You can take it to another component, then take this one concerned with adding students a separate component, then take this one concerned with displaying students to another component. It depends on how we want to do it, but let's first do something. Everything about adding students, take it to one component. Everything about displaying students, take it into one component. So I'll first take this school application. I will take it out of this place and take it to a separate component. So I'll go to the components folder. I can say new file. I can call it header info.js. So I'm creating a component called header info const header info. So come here, cut this out of this place, this school application, cut it and bring it here. Sorry, you want to use JSX, so you need to bring in React. So we've got in React. Next is this. You can now say return so we have this here now. Next is I can now export it. So after exporting it, then I can import it here. So import header info from this component. If imported it, next we can now use it here. You just use it as though you are using a tag. And if you like, you can use it, make it a self-closing tag, or you write it info. So this is fine. Any question? Can we move on?
So we've only created one. It's only the app, that's the student app that you created, Abby.
It's only
The student application. Is this student application, Abby?
student application. There's no student application.
I mean the component that you just
Header
moved
info.
now.
I just took this student application and placed it there, so that if I thought I want to change this, all I need to do is I will just come. I know that this component is responsible for displaying the header on the page. So anything that deals with the header, then this is where I'll come to.
Okay.
Next, anything that deals with adding students, then I want to take it to another component. So I will cut this out of this place and create a new component called add student. So let's do that together. Inside the components folder, you can create add students.js. So const add student. Oops. Don't forget that your component name should start with capital letter. Capital letter React. Then so for this, I'll now take this quotes, this HTML. I'll cut it out of this place and I'll take it there. So this is now here. So everything concerned with adding student is now here. Then I can import it here. add students. So this, oh, I have an extension that auto imports. So it has automatically imported it for me. I'll even check the extension. It's been a while I installed it from the Chrome extension. So add students. What I'm just doing is this component, I'm importing it here, and I imported it here. Then I'm using it here. Any question?
Okay, it's fine.
Nah. But then there's a little problem. The problem is this function on input, we are calling on a function called change first name. But inside this component, there is no function called change first name. So what we're going to do is we are going to bring the change first name and the change last name. We bring it there. So let's do that together. Change first name, the states, and all of that. So we cut the state out of this place and link it to the add students. So we want to bring in new states. Then you have this. So what you are doing here is this. As user types here, you are setting the first name and the last name. Any question?
No.
Okay, it's still moving, have you?
I don't know if I'm the only one in the class.
Okay.
Is Jima in the class?
If you are the
Yes, I'm available. I'm following the class.
okay. So the first name and the last name, they are here. I think then you have to note something, that we are not using the first name and the last name anywhere else except inside this component. So it's fine. We can easily bring it here. Let's now look at this add student also. When you click on this button, you want to be able to add students. Now that's going to cause a little problem. So I will cut this out. No, add student. Where is the function for add student? Okay, this is the function. Cut it and bring it here. So when you click on this button, you are adding the student, but you are adding it to these all students. This is where the issue is. You are adding it to these all students. Aside these all students, there is no problem. In fact, everything is perfect except for these all students. The problem is that you need this all students elsewhere. You also need it to be here so that you can display the content of the all students here. Are we following?
Yes.
So good. You need the all students to, you want to use it here, and at the same time you want to make use of it here. That leads to a little problem. Now this is the parent. App.js is the parent. This is the child. Whenever you import a component into another one, this is the one that you are importing is the child. So we are importing add students to app.js. So add student component is the child, while app.js is the parent. So in this case, we need that value in this parent, and we also need it in this child. Hope you understand the problem at hand.
Yeah.
Okay. Now there's a rule. The rule says the owner of a component, the owner of a state must be the one to edit or to alter that state. The owner of a state must be the one to alter that state. One thing is this all student does not belong to this component. It actually belongs to the app.js. This is it. It belongs here, not to add student. Now you might argue that, well, why not just easily take this out of this place and bring it here? By bringing it here, it means that it now belongs to this component, right?
Yes, sir.
So it now belongs to this component, no longer the app.js. So with that, this component can easily change it. But not where we are going to. I said we are going to a point whereby we will still take these ones out of this place and take it to another component separately. We are still going to take all of this out of this place. Meaning that at the end of the day, these all students will be needed inside another component other than these art students. Let me tell you where we are going to. I will create a new component and I will call it display student. So let's say import React from okay, cost display students equals to this, then it say return, then you bring in this, so export defaults. So come here, cut everything responsible for displaying student, cut all of this out of us. All of this, everything responsible for displaying students, cut them out and bring them here. Good. So everything responsible for displaying student is now inside this component. So we can now bring it in here also. So this is where we are going to. Do we get what we are doing? Everything responsible for display student have now been taken into this this display student component. So at the end of the day, we need this our students inside this place, and we still need it inside display student. Hope you understand.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, but there is no way this art student can pass it to display student directly, because we are not importing art students in display students. Neither are we importing display students inside art students. We are only importing the two of them inside this app.js. I come again. Since we are not importing this in this, and we are not importing this in this, then there's no way they can pass this thing, this all students value, because we need it in the two components. So there's no way we can pass the values between these two. So what we're going to do is we now go to the common denominator. The common denominator of that is the app.js, is the parent of both of them. Is the parent of art students, and also it is the parent of display students. Do we get this now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So whenever you need to pass values between sisters, these ones are sisters. Whenever you need to pass values between sister components, then you take that value to their parent. So for that reason, these all students cannot stay here. You need to lift it from this place. We call this state lifting. State lifting. You lift it from this place and take it to their parent. This is their parent. Then you bring in the states here. Shall I get there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have to lift, like, just something you need to do. Whenever you need to pass value between sister components, then you need to lift it from that state and take it to the common denominator of the components. So this is the common denominator. Now, since the state is now here, then any function that will alter this state must also be here, such that this function, where is it? This function that is happening here can no longer happen here. We need to find a way of ensuring that it happens here. Other things will be fine. This will be fine. This will be fine. This change first name will be fine because we are using it to alter this first name. This last name will be fine because we are using it to alter this last name. But this change all students cannot happen here. We need to find a way of taking this line out of this place and bringing it to this app.js because the owner of the state must be the one to edit that state. Any question?
No question, sir.
Okay, let's move on. This function called delete student also, we are going to face the same situation here. This delete student is inside this display student component. It's inside this place. So, of course, you might say that the logic should be here. Where is it? This should be here. You might first say probably should be here. So let's first bring it here. But we have the same problem. It is not the owner of all students, so it can't alter all students. This line cannot happen here. It can't. It is not the owner. So we need to also find a way of ensuring that this line does not happen here. Instead, it happens in this app.js. Hope you understand the problem now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So next is this. Let's first do something very basic before we move on. I will put a value here, and I will call it my name. Sorry. Okay, let's first do this. I'll just call it my name, and I'll say the value of my name is Taye. This is a variable. I want to pass that variable. I just want to, like I said, we are doing something very basic. I want to pass this variable from this place and make use of it inside this header info. So to pass it, you just come here and create a prop, something we call prop. It's like an attribute. You know, this is like a tag, HTML tag. So you're going to give it an attribute. So any attribute of your choice. I can call it anything, like anything whatsoever. So I'll call it anything. The value of this attribute will now be this variable, my name. Let's see what we are doing. We want to find a way of passing this value from this place to header info so that we can be able to make use of it or display it inside header info. So we created a variable and we created an attribute. You can call this any name, like you can call it anything. Then the value is this variable. So after doing that, you can now make use of it here. How do we call it here? This is it. There's something we call this in React. We call this props, but it's not a must to use props anyway. But we call it props. When you pass a value down, you are passing down a prop. So the prop is actually an object. When you pass down props are actually objects. So and you can get all the props here. Most time you call it props like this. So any prop that you pass down will be retrieved inside this object. It's going to be set as a property of this props object. Anything you pass down here into this component like this will be set as a property of these props. So if I come here and I say display my name is, and I want to display this name, let me take them, put them side by side. My name is this Taye. You know, I've passed it down as anything, so I can now get it as anything. I will just come here and say props. Remember, props is an object. Props dot anything. Do we get it? Do we get it? Are we together? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. So what if we want to pass more than one variable?
Okay, alright. So you can pass as many values as possible. you can come here and pass another value. Let's say last name.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So my last name
Hello.
is this. So we can pass this down also, and I say give it another one and say my last name. So I'm passing it down also as another prop. So we can get it here and say my last name is props dot, what did we call it here? We called it last name. So you come here and get it using last name. Any question?
Sir, sorry. The line 2, that props, is it a keyword?
No. It can be any. You can call it anything, whatever. But the convention in React is to use props. So this becomes whatever dot anything. Whatever dot anything. Do you understand? But just know that this is actually an object. So that's why what we are just doing is we are getting the properties of the object. Are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's change this back to prop. Like I said, it's good to follow convention, like I always say. Call it props. So props, but it's not a keyword. It's not. So sometimes you are not cool writing these props every time. Props dot anything. Props dot last name. You can just destructure it from this place. So let's destructure it so that you won't keep repeating props dot. So I can remove these props. Since I know that props is an object, we know, so we can destructure anything out of it, and also last name. So instead of saying props dot now, I can just use anything directly and last name directly. Show you Allah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is how to pass down a value, and not just variable. You can also even pass down a string directly here. I can call it, let's say var, and I can say var is what should we call it? House. So if I want to make use of it here, I can just come here and say the structure val out of it. So var, it will display the house here. Any question? So you can pass a number, you can pass strings down, but I'm just trying to show us how to pass down variables. Next is this. Let's now go to the task at hand. We understand how props work now. How would you delete this?
Yes, sir. Sir, can you please go back to that, what's it called? That display studio.
Display.
Yeah. Yeah, is it display or house studio? The
This.
components we just work with now.
Okay, header info.
Yeah, I just want to see. I want to know if I really understand how that line 2 works. Are you with me, sir?
Okay, I'm with you, sir.
Okay, now, is it correct if I said the line 2 actually means like the destructuring that's happening here is that like the colibris is inside of it, props is inside it, then equals anything in colibris and last name and val. I hope you understand. I don't know whether you get my question.
Please come again, sir.
Like, I'm trying to understand. I want to be sure if I'm getting how the structuring work there. Since you said the props usually return an object.
Yes.
So what I want to be sure of is that does the interpretation of this actually means props in a curly braces equals anything last name val in a curly braces.
Anything last name. Anything last name. Okay, so
And for
uh,
like what you have, do you get what I'm trying to ask?
okay, that's let me see. Clubs.
Maybe you can just bring it out like
Okay, like how?
maybe you can just come downward. I'm sorry for
Okay,
like okay in curly braces props
okay,
equals to
okay,
equals to in curly
okay.
braces or
You said?
yeah, or anything. I mean anything last name and
Yes,
plus the
this is what is
qualifier.
happening. Yeah, you are right, sir. This is
Okay,
what is
okay,
going
okay,
on.
okay, okay, sir. Sorry for dragging the class.
So what are you just doing? No, instead of it like this, it's like this. Something like it's like this instead. Yes.
Okay, the props next. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, sir.
So we are just destructuring this out of it. So having done this now, I can now delete this and go straight to present task. So remove this. Since you are not getting props here, remove this. Done. Have we removed it here? Yes, we have. So I will take this. Okay, all students. This is the all students. So since we are making use of it there, we need to pass it down as props. So you can pass it down here by saying all students is the same as all students. So you are creating an attribute called all students and you are passing it as this variable all students so that you can make use of it inside add students here. Inside this place. You can make use of it here. So now one thing is this, since we are not even displaying it, we are not displaying it except this line, there's no point passing it down here. Hope you understand. We are not displaying it inside this component. We are not. So there's no point passing it down. Shall I understand?
Can you please come again, sir?
Okay. So I said initially I passed down all students here as all students, right? Meaning that we are passing down this whole array of students to this component called add students. Do we get
Art
it?
student. Yes, sir.
So that we can display it on this page. But there's no point in
Yes, sir.
this HTML part that we are displaying
Well,
it. We are not displaying it.
yes, sir.
So for that reason, there's no point passing it down. Hope you understand.
Okay.
There's
Since
no
we are
point.
not displaying it, we don't
Yeah.
need to pass it
There's
then.
no point passing
Even
it.
if we need the what was it called? The variable. Probably we want to.
No, there's no point passing it down. We're going to see how to now make use of it. There's no point. We can only pass it down here. So since we are making use of it there.
We are passing it here purposely because we want to display it.
Yes, you get it now. So let's now see how to handle this. Let's take it step by step. Let's first handle this add student. When we are done, we now go to display students. For this one, everything is fine except this line. So we take this line out of this place. Then we need to find a way of bringing the line here. So let's get a function here. We get a function called const. We can call it maybe add new student. And that function, what it's just going to do is, okay, let's do it like this. That function is going to do this thing for us. It will call on all students and it will help us to add new students. Any question?
No question, sir.
Okay, good. It means that we need to find a way of bringing new students, the newly added students, to this page also. Remember, new student is, let me close this one, we are not using this. New student is here, this is this. We need to find a way of bringing the variable here so that when you click on this button, you are creating new students, then you find a way of passing that new student to this place so that you can push it here. That's the next task. So what I will do is we are going to receive that new student as we can receive as a parameter. Yeah. Yep. You can receive it as a parameter. I want to see if you can find a way of doing it without using parameterized function. So I think we need to. So we are passing. We are going to whenever you call on this function, you will pass student as a parameter to that function. So whatever you pass here becomes the value of new students. Let's do it this way. So that we won't have to touch this. That's what I'm just trying to do. Of course, if you change it to the students, then this one needs to be changed also to students. Hope you understand.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that's why I just think maybe we just call this new student also. So whatever you had here will be passed to this place and it will be pushed into this place. Next is this. This function itself will now be the one we pass down. This function add new student. I can call it add my student. And let the value of add my student be add new student. Hope you understand what you are doing here. We are passing a function down. We are passing this function itself. We are passing it downward to this component as a prop. So that when we can now come to this component and receive it. Let's receive it here. Add my student. This add my student is a function that we pass down. Show you Wala.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So next is when you now get to this place, you now call on that function add my students. Then you pass new students. So this is what happens when you click on this button. It will call on this function. This function will create new students. It will now pass that new students as a parameter to function add my students, and it will call that function. Remember, parentheses will call on a function. So it will call on that function immediately. And when it does that, it's going to execute this. Remember, we've passed this whole function down as add my student. So it will make it execute this. It will receive whatever you are sending as new students and it will push it into this place. Is Samstack still following us? Shoti Daruni.
I think he's trying to talk.
Okay. Hello, sir.
I think he's trying to talk the other time.
Yes, I don't know what's wrong at his end. I don't know if he's still following us. Or if anything is wrong, can you type it? But we can't hear you, sir. We can't. Oh, let's proceed. Let's proceed. Okay, let's move on. Let's go over it again. I want to add a student. So what you are doing is this. Remember, the owner of the state must be the one to alter that state. So for that reason, this function to add student must not happen inside this component. We need to find a way of bringing it to app.js. So we create a function to do that for us. This function will do that. Then we are passing that function as add my student. Then we are receiving it here as a prop. Here we destruction it. So when you click on this button, we just place that function, just call on the function here, so that when you click on this button, it's to create a new student and you pass it as a parameter to add my student. So it will automatically call on this and pass it as the value of this new student. Then it will now push it here. So that's for that. We are done with this component. Chicken now. Let's now go to this second one. This display student, since it's responsible for displaying all students, we are passing this variable down as all students. You can give it another name if you want to, but just feel I'm leaving it as all students because I don't want to alter too many things here. So let's see what happens. You can destructure it all students, so you are getting all students. The all student that you pass, let me close this for now. So the all student that you pass down here, you are getting it here. And also this will work fine now. It's going to work fine. Do we get it? Do we understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So this will work fine, but the only thing we need to now adjust is this delete students. Let's work on that. Of course, this function that is responsible for deleting students, you can't delete the students here. Where is it? This one cannot happen here. This particular line, it can't. So what you're going to do is we cut this function out of this place and take it to app.js. So this function will delete the student. Next is you pass it down so that you'll be able to call it inside this component. This is where you are doing the clicking. So you need to find a way of calling the function inside this component. You need to find a way. So let's pass it down. Where is it? You can come here and say the student equals to the student. So you are passing this function down as the student, then you can collect it or receive it inside this component as the student. That's all. Like that's all. You might be surprised at what's happening here. Why are we not doing it the way we did that? You know, you're already passing the index to this place. So when you call on when you click on this button, it will pass this index automatically as a parameter to Dell students. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So it automatically passes this index down here. So all this function we just do is this function is expecting a parameter. Whatever you send becomes the value of index. Because the value of this index. Whatever you send here becomes the value of index. So it will now filter it and it will alter it here. So we are done. We successfully splitted that component. So let's do something more. I'll stay under this so that you understand it even more. This one, no student yet. I will take it out of this place and take it to another component. So let's do that together. I call it no student dot js. So let's say const no student equals to return so cut this one out of this place, cut it and make it here. So export default no student, then now import it here, no student. So this is going to display it. Then maybe you may also want to take this first name and last name out of this place. I mean these ones you may want to take it out of this place. So let's do that together also. This tr, we just take it out of this place and uh, what's it called? Create a component for it, a separate component. So I'll say T table .js. So let's create this cost table equals to this. Oh, did I bring in React here? No, sorry. We need to bring in React. Import React React. So you need to add this line. Let's now come to this place. Table, of course, import React from React. Then come here, cut everything here, and bring it here. Oh, sorry, return. Paste. So export defaults. So we are importing this table here. We are exporting it here so that we can import it here. Table go like this. Now we need to find a way of passing each student so that we can make use of it here. I hope you get it. We need to find a way of passing each student so that we can be able to call students here. So to pass it down, you can come here and say student equals to student. So student equals to this student. Then collect it here as props student. So what happened is this is going to pass this student to each of these tables. Like, you know, this is a map, Abi.
Yes, sir.
This is a map, meaning that it's going to run this table, is going to create this table based on the number of items inside all students. But note that
Yes,
each table will be unique. Each of these will be unique. Like for the first student, it will create a table, it will pass student as value of students. For the second one, so it will create another table, pass student as value of student. Do you understand it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you can now collect the students here. You can receive it inside this place as students. For each of them, it's going to run this for it. Of course, you need to add your key. So remove the key from this place. And take the key here. This is where we need it. So you say key equals to I. Key equals to this. I remember when you are using map, you need to use this key. So key is I. Next is let's see what you still need to adjust.
Sir.
Yes,
So,
sir.
hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sorry for disturbing you, sir. That key, why is it coming here, sir? The
Why?
key does
Why is it?
Why is it coming here?
Now, this map is the one that is requesting for key. Whenever you use map,
Okay.
map expects just one child, and that child must have a key.
Yes, sir.
We actually included map because we actually included a key because of map. And
Okay, sir.
whatever you put here, whatever, it must have a key. Do you understand it, sir?
Yes, sir.
So that's how we are taking it from this place. We are bringing it here because of this map, and of course that is why we actually need it.
Okay, sir.
Okay, let's move on. Then next is when a user clicks on this button, we want to delete that student. So let's see how this is going to work. This is a bit funny. Remember, even this delete student does not even belong to this component itself. It is actually receiving it from app. Abi now.
Yes, sir.
So this component can also pass it to his own child if it wants to. So that's what exactly will happen if you pass it to this. And say del student equals to the del student that you receive at the top. Remember, we've collected it as at this place. So
Yes, sir.
you can pass it down as del student. So you can pass it down here now as del student. Then you can receive it here. So when you click on this button, next we have this I. There's no I here. No I. But thank God, we have our key helping us to get I. You can use it if you want to, or you can pass I separately if you want to. I can choose to pass I separately and say I equals to I. I'm already passing down I so that I can get I here. Get I here, and so you can receive it here. Hope you understand. The reason what you are just doing is we need this I, so that when user clicks on this button, you want to get the index so that you know the one the user wants to delete. Do you understand what is going on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then I don't know. You can write it alternatively. You can use another code instead of writing it like this. Let's find another way of making it even much better than it is. Well, I can do my deleting here. Really, I can say coming del student, then so let's see what happens. So for that reason, I may not need, don't worry if it's confusing, I'll explain now. I may not need this, and I may not need this, and I may not need this. So let's see what is going on. I'm saying that whenever anybody calls on del students, this one, let me give you another name so that you won't, it's not going to confuse you. Delete, let me write it in full. I'm saying that whenever anybody calls on delete student, call on function del student. Remember we've received del student at the top, Abby.
Yes, sir.
Then pass this I. Since I is available here, pass this I as a parameter to that function. Again, I know somewhere inside this component I will call on a function called delete student. I know. So I'm saying that whenever anybody calls on this function, we are saying that this is the value of that function now. This function is going to call on del student and it will pass this I. So whenever I now use this delete student, what I'm actually using is this line. Do you get it? Whenever I call on delete student, this is what I'm actually using. I'm assigning it to this. So I can now come to this component and say delete student. So this is fine now. So when you click on this button and you call on delete students, it's going to execute this instead. If you pass I to del students, then execute this. Oh, interesting, right?
So somehow corny, but I know by the time I ruminate on it, I should be able to get it.
Okay.
I should.
Okay. Right. This last part, if it's a bit confusing, you can write it in full the way we did it the other time. Use your del students by saying del, maybe something like this. Del students. Let me even just duplicate it, so in case you can be able to go to the two, see the two, and use whichever one you are more comfortable with. Okay. You can say del student equals to del student. So what you're using is you are passing the whole function down. The calling of the function will now happen here. So let me comment this line. So copy, paste. So whenever you click on it, it expects you to pass parameter now. So you need to find a way of passing I, so that it's going to know the one you are trying to delete, meaning we need this I inside this component. And since we need it inside this component, you come here and pass it like this. Right? If you are using this second one, you don't need this I at all for any reason. You don't need it since I is available here. But if you are using this one, you need to pass this I, or you pass it, or you use your key, whichever one. So you now come here, receive it here, then you can pass it here. Hope you understand.
No, it's okay.
Okay. So we are stopping here tonight. Remember, let's summarize everything we've done so far. We know we are splitting our components, and you pass props like this. Whenever you pass props, you can go to that component and make use of it. Then again, the owner of the component, the owner of the state must be the one to edit or alter
The state.
states. So anything that deals with altering all students, it needs to occur here. For that reason, this function add new student must be here. So let's go to the add new student. Control O, come on. Okay. I can just go to the site, a sidebar here, click on use it. Okay. So for that reason, what is happening here is this: when editor clicks on this button, it's going to call on this function. This function creates a new student. Then this function will now call on props.add my student. It's going to call on props. Of course, we've destructured the props. So it's going to call on props.add my student, and you are passing this new student as a parameter to that function, so that you can now go to this function and receive it. Where is it? So where's the function adding new student? Oh, I think I've deleted it mistakenly. Wow. I don't know. Okay. So this is the function add new student. So whenever you click on this button will call on this function. This function will execute this, and this will call on add my student, and it will pass this new student as a parameter to this, like this. So you can now make use of it here. This function will receive it and it will push it inside this place. Then for the display students, you are passing all students down, so that you can display it inside this display student component. Then where is it? Okay, is it? Next is you want to be able to delete a student. So you remove the logic from this place. Let's come here. When you click on this button, if you call on delete students, then you will pass the I. You need to know the index of what you are trying to delete. So this function will just receive its states, and to pass that I, and it's happy to delete it. Then we did something. We took this table from this place and we got it here, so that for you to just get it even more. Now assignment. What I want you to do is this button that is deleting students, take it to a separate component out of this table row component. This button, just this button alone, create a separate component for it, so that from that component now, let it still be working perfectly like before. Do we get what you have to do?
Yes, sir.
Alright, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We are done.
I can go to the browser.
Okay, let me run it. Coming before launching it on the browser, I think there's adjustments, doc students. Dull students. Okay, we pass the I. Canon. Display students. Okay, and now we still need to. This is delete students. This is this. So this is delete students. So I'll use the down one. The one down. Since this is Dell students, this is delete students. Then we don't need I here. Yes. Yeah, everything is fine now. So let's go and run it. Go to your code. New app. CMD. Then npm starts. Yes. So let's add. Let's say and let's say winning. Let's say I can hear me. Let's say something. Let's add more. Tire. So if I want to delete, it's still working fine.
Okay, sir.
Alright, so okay, any other question?
No questions, sir.
Have a lovely night, sir. Good night.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
And if you have
Thank you.
any question, yes, sir. If you have any question while watching it,
Okay, sir.
good night, everybody.
Take care, sir.